This is Gary Atensi with CNTV, and today we're in Colorado Springs, Colorado. We are at Paulsen's Family Martial Arts. Since 1999, they have been providing civilized MMA with the best of types, techniques of martial arts coming together here on one mat. Looks like a lot of fun out there, a lot of work. I really actually broke a sweat almost just taping it all together. Diane, I appreciate you for joining us here today. Why don't we begin first of all with you? Obviously, you yourself since 1996 have been teaching children as well as women out on the mat. Share with me, you moved here in '03 for Colorado Springs. Where were you before, and where did you get the passion for this art?
Okay, I was actually trained in San Diego, California. My husband was in the Navy, and they shipped us to Arizona. I know, I was in the Navy, recruiting. And so we began our martial arts career out of a garage where we lived. One student in the neighborhood, and it grew to maybe about 10, 15 kids in the neighborhood. And then unfortunately 9/11 happened. And so rather than retiring in Arizona, actually the Lord provided a way for us to get back home because Kevin's home is in Colorado. And so we came back here, and I took 6 months to unpack and found a place to start teaching Paulsen's Family Martial Arts again.
Wonderful. I mean, here recently you've been able to find your own location here. You've basically been able to train throughout. You've got a couple locations that you're able to provide for. Share with me a little bit about those locations.
Okay, besides our dojo here, we also teach in Falcon. We began teaching out there in 2005. I actually took dance for a while, so my dance teacher asked if I would start teaching martial arts out of the dance studio. So we did that, and we both grew in Falcon, and so I found another place in Falcon and been teaching in Falcon since 2005.
Wonderful. Quite honestly, martial arts has been around for literally thousands of years. Mastery of combat, mastery of self. Why do you think this type of training is almost more important today than possibly thousands of years ago?
Well, I think a lot of self-confidence comes from training in martial arts, and self-discipline and selflessness in helping others. So it's a lot of character building as well as good, decent training.
Excellent. Let me ask you this. The types of martial arts that they're going to be learning here, Kevin, touch on those a little bit for me.
Okay, well, we teach Shotokan Karate, which is a traditional Japanese martial art, as well as Judo, which is off-balancing and taking people down. And then we teach Jiu-Jitsu. And all three of those are mixed together at the same time. Everybody learns at the same pace. And so even a white belt starts to learn Judo and Jiu-Jitsu.
Interesting. Quite a few throws I've seen out there on the poster just within Judo itself. It's quite amazing to master all those. Sensei Diane, let me ask you this. When was it when basically, I mean, for years martial arts been very popular with men. When is it that women started getting involved, and how do they benefit from that?
Good question. Let me tell you my story. Sure. And that is, I was a single parent for 17 years, raising 2 daughters. The thing about that is when they turned adolescent and the boys started coming over, there was this one guy who was about 6'2", and he was kind of belligerent. And so I'm thinking to myself, get off my property, what would I do if he touched me? Oh my goodness. So I went to the YMCA and started taking martial arts to protect myself, and I loved it, and I kept going. Here I am.
Here I am. And now basically what you do is you share with women every month, teaching them knowledge, self-confidence. Many times that's just a few things that you need to keep yourself out of danger. Do you enjoy empowering women?
I love it. It's actually my passion to teach women how to defend themselves, to get out of situations, to empower them with knowledge, because if a woman gets attacked or grabbed,
Sure.
and she doesn't know what to do, she's going to freeze. And that's exactly what happens to women. And it's so prevalent all over the world. Women are being attacked and sexual violence and everything. And so I teach women week after week how to get out of all different kinds of situations. It's like, well, what if this happens and what if that happens? And teaching them through a program called Kim Rock's Fight Like a Girl. And these are techniques that are specifically to get away from an attacker, an abductor, or an abuser. And even young girls can do these techniques. And we teach them how to use your other weapons. You've got 2 hands and 2 legs. If one hand is held, you've still got another hand to use. Teach them how to think differently and to protect themselves, to get away from an attacker.
So what you're saying basically that is not the time to be passive. You basically need to take something, go forward. We live in a society today where, quite honestly, the strong can and many times do take prey on the weaker. Let me ask you, how does this help in the way of bullying, Kevin? How are young boys also able to benefit here?
Well, I think it gives the kids a sense of identity, self-confidence, and makes them so that they're not a victim. They're not viewed as a victim either. So bullies kind of stay away from those kinds of kids that show a self-confidence and normally don't attack them or bully them. And that's where it really works.
I would think that, quite honestly, what you're providing here is confidence for a lot of these kids. And like you said, Kevin, basically this confidence, you can sometimes see it on the face without ever having to raise a hand whatsoever.
Mm-hmm. That's very true. And also with the confidence and integrity and honesty, we have a program within our kids program that we use. It's called My Best List, and on it there are chores that the kids do at home. There's responsibilities and being courteous to people at school and being honest on this sheet and being respectful to family members. So they bring it to me every week.
Nice.
And we give them stars or little ninja toys or stickers because it's a character building program that we have. That way I know that outside of these walls that they are being responsible citizens, and if they're not, then we become intermediaries with the family to help the child to grow and to be responsible. So yes, so I keep up with my kids until they're black belts, and then I say, okay, you don't have to fill out my best list anymore. So we get them run off by the reams.
By that time, they've really maintained a foundation that, quite honestly, they're able to go on their own. That's probably got to make you both feel really good, because obviously these almost become like your kids when you see them move on and succeed out there.
Yes, they do, and it's incredible to watch when they come in and they're only like this high, and then 4 or 5 years later when they're testing for brown or black belt, and you're like, they're somebody. And it's just incredible.
That's got to make you feel both great. Speaking of this high when they come in, tell me about your program, Little Dragons. Is that where it begins?
Oh, yes. They start at 3 or close to 3 years old, 3, 4, 5, and 6 years old in Little Dragons program, and they're just adorable. But we teach them how to listen. So we're sharpening their listening skills, motor skills. We keep them moving all the time, respect, and making sure that they're treating their classmates with respect. They can't go up and hit somebody or push somebody. And so we start there with them, and they keep going.
So they really understand and also respect the power they have within their hands. They understand that basically this is something that another person may not have, so you're able to bring it out when you need it.
Yes, yes. And also we tell them, you cannot hit your brother or sister. Okay, and I tell them, I've made some cry sometimes, but it's like, you're going to be in trouble with your parents, but you're going to be in trouble with us too. Okay, and so we just have to keep track of the little ones, let them know they cannot hit other people, but if somebody grabs them and we show them how to do certain things in a lot of screaming.
I bet.
And kicking, yes.
You're able to see, Kevin, basically kind of a child evolve really in front of your eyes week by week. You're able to see that. Share with me some of the stories, possibly from a parent that you may have heard from and said, this happened and we're really excited about it.
Well, we have several stories where parents have noticed the difference in their children from when they started martial arts, and how they've grown, especially in self-discipline and respect. For instance, we have one story right now. We have a child that has been taking classes with us for about a year or more who is autistic. And it has really improved his motor skills, his listening skills, and his focus. And this all carries through to home and to the society as well.
Interesting. This all began, quite honestly, for you from your own personal experience as a woman who went through something. So you're probably able to relate also with ladies who possibly are afraid. They're in situations like that. Is that relatability something that you pride yourself on?
Well, yes, because I can relate and because I am a woman. And so there's a lot of innate ways that I relate to them. When women come to me and they call that they need some type of personal violence prevention classes, self-defense classes, we talk for a little bit. They don't always tell me their story, but I'll know when they get here that something has happened. For a lot of women, nothing has happened. They just see the world, so much violence, little girls getting abducted and taken away and killed. So they want their daughters protected, and everybody learns. Mothers and daughters, I've got a lot of mother-daughter teams that come in, take classes. The ones that have issues or have had something to happen to them, sometimes they wind up breaking down and crying because they wish they had known this before.
Wonderful. That's one of the reasons we wanted to come out and actually provide an interview for you, get this out to the public, because quite honestly, to be passive, we really need to be more of a proactive approach out there for folks to understand this type of thing. Folks, take a look at the bottom of the screen. If you're going to notice there, you're going to see their website. On the website, you're going to see their contact information. You're also going to see their schedule of the classes they provide. They've got 2 locations. They're able to serve you out there as well. And you're also going to see some testimonials of some of the adults as well as children and women who have experienced this program. If you'd like to sign up for their newsletter, you can do that as well. That is Paulsen's Family Martial Arts. Speaking of Paulsen's Family Martial Arts, this is a family dojo, but let's say there's somebody that wants to do it a little further. They want to compete. Do you have some background in competing? Is it something you can help them with?
Absolutely. We don't force our students to compete, but it only opens up a whole nother world for them to get in front of judges and to do what they do inside these walls, to perform outside the walls, whether it's sparring or forms, whatever it is. So we help to prepare them by pretending we are at a competition. Sure. So the students are judges and they sit there, I said, okay, you're all black belts now. And they're sitting there just looking, and so that they perform. So they have some experience before they actually get to a competition themselves. But it just, it's like, yes, I can do this, and then they go out there, but we don't force them to.
I think the choice for Paulsen's family was good in your name. It really is a family that you're providing here for folks. Let me ask you this. I noticed some of the weaponry out there. Is weapons something that you provide for as well if somebody wants to learn some?
Yes, we do. And just about every weapon that you can think of is something that we've taught here at Paulsen's Family Martial Arts. Spear, sword, Quan Dao, or the long blade, and also the sai and tambo, yeah, which is a short stick, and also the bow, which is the long stick. Yes.
Right.
Interesting. So one of the things I was meaning to ask you was the fact that you've got to have folks out there that, or maybe like you when you first started, probably didn't feel like that was the place you were supposed to be. They may be nervous, hesitant. What would you tell folks out there who are thinking about taking that step in and taking more of a proactive approach?
Mostly for adults, the first thing they go is, I'm too old. Well, I am too, and I don't look my age, and I'm not going to tell you on national television. But I am older than I look, and so I encourage them that for my adults, I said, you take it slowly. You don't do as much as a 20-year-old. You're not as flexible as a 20-year-old. So you do what you can do and learn technique and do it slowly and try it. And we also offer a lot of free classes for our adults and our kids to make sure we don't have contracts, but we do want to make sure that they're going to enjoy being in the classes, and it's something that they want to do. And because it's a mixed martial arts, but it's traditionally taught. Like my husband said, the karate, traditional karate, Shotokan karate, judo, it's from Japan, traditional, not competition judo, jiu-jitsu, Brazilian jiu-jitsu that we teach, all of it. So we just encourage them, say, come on and try. And a lot of our parents actually start because their kids love it so much, and they're sitting out there watching, and they're going, I can do this.
Why do I want to sit here and play with my iPod when I can be out there and getting in shape, and not only that, but bonding with your children?
Exactly. We have a gentleman now that's sitting out there playing with his iPod. He says, just as soon as I get my knee fixed, I'm going to be out there on the mat with you.
She's quite a handful, Kevin. You guys have done a great thing here with Paulsen's family. I'm proud to come out and introduce your family here to Colorado Springs. This is Gary Atencio with CNTV. And if you don't know, now you know.